Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Assyva Nabila. I'm from Group 11. We would like to present about ethics.
Okay, the first point is ethic. Here we have some points to describe what is the ethics. The first point is the interpreters should not take on work that they may not be able to complete. And the second point, when contact about an assignment, they should check the language and the situation to ensure that it is within their capabilities. And the third point, the more information the interpreter has, the better he or she can prepare him or herself. The interpreter needs to know what area of terminology he or she should prepare. And the next point, the interpreter should obviously be punctual and should behave professionally at all times. And the last point, breaks are essential for interpreters in all situations. Below, you will find different codes of conduct or professional guidelines for interpreters working in different areas. They appear in the following order. The first is the I Professional Guideline for Conference Interpreter. And the second is TALS, the American Association of Language Specialists, Standard of Professional Practice for Conference Interpreter. And the third is NRPSI, the National Register for Public Service Interpreter. And the next is the Vancouver Healthcare Interpreter Standard of Practice. And the last, Code of Ethics of the Registry of Interpreters for Deaf in the United States. Thank you. And the next point will be explained by my friend.
Okay, the next material is about all code of professional ethics, purpose and scope. The first article, this code of professional ethics lays down the standard of integrity, professionalism, and confidentiality which all members of the association shall be bound to respect in their work as a conference interpreters. Code of Honor. Article 2. Members of the association shall be bound by the strictest secrecy which must be observed toward all persons and with regard to all information disclosed in the course of practice of the profession at any gathering not open to the public. Article 3. Members of the association shall not accept any assignment for which they are not qualified. Acceptance of an assignment shall imply a moral undertaking on members' part to work with all due professionalism. And Article 4. Members of the association shall not accept any job or situation which might detract from dignity of the profession. And Article 5. For any professional purpose, members may publicize the fact that they are governors, interpreters, and members of the association, either as individual or as part of any grouping or region to which they belong. And Article 6, it shall be the duty of members of the association to afford their collegious moral assistance and collegiality. Members shall refrain from any utterance or action prejudicial to the interests of the association or its members. Working condition. Article 7. With a view of pursuing the best quality interpretation, members of the association shall endeavor always to a secure satisfactory condition of sound, visibility, and comfort, having particular regard to the professional standard as adopted by the association as well as any technical standard drawn up or approved by it. And Article 8, it's about members of the association shall neither accept or nor overtly over for themselves or for other conference interpreters recruit through them. Be they members of the association or not, any working condition contrary to rules laid down in this code or in the professional standards and amendment procedure. Article 9. This code may be modified by decision of the Assembly taken with a two-thirds majority of votes cast, provided a legal opinion has been sought in the proposal.
And the next, the American Association of Language Specialists (TAALS) Standards of Professional Practice for Conference Interpreters. In the interest of ensuring professional standards of equality, TAALS recommends that each member always endeavor to ensure that physical conditions not hinder them in the performance of their tasks. They must be able to see and hear properly. And then interpreting teams should be organized so as to avoid the systematic use of relay. All engagements should be covered by a written contract which stipulates the fee, the duration of the appointment, the working language, the hour of work, the name of the coordinating interpret, briefing session, and or study days. And then contracts may also include provision for compensating the interpret when the proceeding are recorded, since a contract creates a frame and binding commitment. And then there may be provision for a coordinating interpret to serve as liaison between the conference organizer and interpreters. Disparate interpretation is not generally recommended but may be used to work from one or two languages into a single language and for a small number of listeners. And then preparation and briefing. Since an interpreter must be well prepared, background materials should be provided sufficiently in advance. In the case of the technical and scientific conference, interpreter may request a briefing session at the conference or equivalent period of independent study. And then there is step. The first is introduction. Public service interpreter appearing in the National Register are expected to abide by the code of conduct to which they are signatories. And then competence, have a written and spoken command of both languages, include any terminology, current idioms, and dialect. And then procedure, interpret truly and faithfully what is said without anything being edited, omitted, or changed. And then ethical and professional issues, respect confidentiality at all times and not speak to take advantage of any information disclosed during their work. And then disciplinary procedure principles. Any complaint against an interpreter thought to be acting contrary to this code may be referred by the Institute of Linguistics to the National Register Disciplinary Panel as specific in the NRPSE disciplinary procedure. And then structure for handling complaints, disciplinary procedure, and then suspension from an appeals general disciplinary panel and disciplinary appeals panel.
The next is the Vancouver Healthcare Interpreter Standards of Practice. Standard for healthcare interpreting. The purpose of healthcare interpreting is to overcome language barriers that impede access to healthcare service. The function of interpreting is to transfer of message spoken in one language into another without distorting meaning. The concept represented by this standard will be expanded in training programs. It will be the responsibility of the instructor to interpret the document for the learners. Next is standard of performance. The first is confidentiality. A healthcare interpreter articulates a reporting obligation statement. This statement cautions the patient against disclosing information they do not wish revealed and reassures that all information revealed is shared. The second is respect for individuals. A healthcare interpreter responds in sportive and empathic manner within the parameters of the rule. The healthcare interpreter recognizes that a spirit of respect and care prevails healthcare practice. And the third, accuracy. A healthcare interpreter does not provide any opinion or answer that does not come from either or parties. Accuracy preserves the meaning of the message. Next is proficiency. A healthcare interpreter conveys an understanding of medical terminology. Language proficiency expedites the transfer of meaning. Lack of language proficiency impedes the transfer of meaning. And the next, objectivity or impartiality. A healthcare interpreter shows no preference or bias towards either party involved in the interpretation. Objectivity is essential to prevent distortion of the message. The next is clear rule boundaries. A head interpreter facilitates verbal communication between but not on behalf of two people who do not share a common language. Respect for the healthcare interpreter's role in providing minimizes the risk of misunderstanding. And the next is cultural sensitivity. A healthcare interpreter observes that after verify convey relevant cultural practice to both parties. From cultural sensitivity enhances the transfer of the meaning of the message. And the last is standardized interpreting format. A head interpreter explains the structure of the session when this is new to either party. The healthcare interpreting is conducted in a standardized format in order to reduce confusion and achieve consistency of style. And the next is standard of delivery of service. The first is availability. A healthcare interpreters are available to meet urgent and elective needs. Respond to emergent calls within 15 minutes, and interpreter respond to urgent call within 20 hours, and the healthcare interpreter respond to elective call within 48 hours. And the second is accessibility. The process of accessing a healthcare interpreter involves one step, one time. To be useful within a healthcare setting, the process of accessing a healthcare interpreter must be simple, convenient, and efficient. And the third is efficiency. The skill of healthcare interpreter must meet the needs of the situation. Healthcare resources are limited. Efficient interpreting service conserve resource. And the last is expediency. When appropriate and feasible, the same healthcare interpreter is used for the same patient or family and healthcare professional. Expedition influence useful in the healthcare system. Interpreting procedures must be balanced, expedience against other value.
And the next material, it's about code of ethics of the registry of the interpreters for the deaf in the United States. The first is interpreters shall keep all assignment-related information strictly confidential. With the lines, interpreters shall not reveal information about any assignment, including the fact that the service is being performed. When training new trainees by the method of sharing actual experiences, the trainers should not reveal any of the following information: name, sex, age, etc. of the customer, day of the week, time of the day, time of the year of the situation took place, location, including city, state, or agency, other people involved, unnecessary specific about the situation. And the second is interpreters shall render the message faithfully, always conveying the content and spirit of the speaker using language most readily understood by the persons whom they serve. And the third is interpreters shall not counsel, advise, or interject personal opinions. And the fourth is interpreters shall accept assignment using direction with regard to skill, setting, and the customer involved. And the fifth is interpreters shall request compensation for service in professional and judicious manner. And the sixth is interpreters shall function in a manner appropriate to the situation. And the seventh is interpreters shall strive to further knowledge and skill through participation in workshop, professional meeting, interaction with professional colleagues, and reading of Korean literature in field. And the eighth is interpreters, by virtue of membership or certification by MID, shall strive to maintain high professional standard in compliance with codes of ethics. Okay, I think that's all. If you have a question, you can ask, and don't forget to mention your name. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.